Hello and welcome back. Still got the 264 and the Suburban coaches running on the railway. I've got them on the outside line for a change. I was just having a think this morning about what would be good and fun to have a play with on the railway. And I've got my Coronation Scott train out. I thought that would be great fun to have a bit of a charge around the railway with that. So I think this came along sort of early 70s, but the coaches, these are a much later sort of thing, much later Hornby Railways thing. Sort of late 80s, possibly into the 90s, these coaches. Now we've seen them before. If you have a look at the insert picture there, you can see the sort of boxes they came in. That'll date them a little bit more accurately. But I will put dates, or you will have already seen dates in the bottom of the screen there. So we'll leave the 264 running around on the outer line there, and let's give this a little power and see if we can get in close and have a look at it underway on the inner line here. So it'll probably pick up a little pace as it warms up, but a train that looks like this needs a little bit of pace, I think. But we've got to be careful on the inner line. I'm going to put the controls down this time around and see if I can get in a bit tighter. And I'm using the telephone, which will enable me getting really close. Let's have a look at those coaches. They've got plastic wheels with the white rims on them. See if I can come up a little bit further down the train and get the locomotive. So this is missing the handrail. It's my belief that the handrail was taken off in the factory to fit the boxes they'd mistakenly made. That was a bit of a jump, wasn't it, on that point there? I'll have to keep an eye on that next time around. It's a gorgeous looking thing. Just such a shame they didn't make the sort of matching style coaches earlier in its life. It would perhaps been a different sort of a thing. Let me come right back down here. So you can imagine getting that running on the living room carpet and watching that come down the rails towards you. Let's see if we can replicate that sort of thing again. We'll come around here. Lost track of the 264. And we're back into something any moment, I imagine. Have to be sensible and stand back a bit. So I'm going to deal with the 264. I think we'll just bring it to a stop just before the signal box there. Swing back around to the left here and we'll catch the Coronation coming around there. And then we'll just take a bit of power out of it. So let's have a closer look there. I'm not going to pull this off the rails because I think we've seen this plenty of times before. I'll leave a link to a video perhaps where we're having a closer look at it. We'll just have a look over the top there and down the sides. Nice wire handrail. Still got its original sort of nameplates on it. I think the boss on the inside there, which is a securing boss that goes into the bodywork there, is a very fragile thing. Let me change some points and we'll bring this around onto the other line. So we'll go with that one. Actually, we could look at the points. It's more interesting than looking at the switches. So actually, it's not that one. So I want to be further around the railway. I'm thinking of, I've got the train somewhere else. So I'm going to change that one. And then I want a crossover with the green dots on. That one, that'll get me onto the outer line. There we have it. So let's do that. We can dial in a little bit more power on the outer line, of course. It's all running as one at the moment. So we'll just bring that gently down. Yeah, it definitely runs into the nose of that point blade, I think, there. Let's just keep an eye on that as it comes to the point work there. And keep it gentle through there. I think the tender might be an uncomfortable sort of wheel spacing as well. Especially on this Series 3 inner radius or small radius. Well, it's much tighter than the Super 4, I seem to remember when I did go to the bother of sort of measuring it out. So I'm going to attend to some point work now and see if we can just seal it onto the outer line here. So we'll make that one straight, and then the one with the blue dot over my left shoulder near the 00 station, we'll also make that one straight. Got the diesel rail car, DMU, sitting in the bay at the station. So let's see if we have some interesting views of this one. I'm just going to lengthen the lens a little bit, so we just make it a little bit longer. Ideally we'll get some more interesting views as it goes under the elevated track. We've got a stall there, it's just run straight into that point. Look, in the plastic part, I imagine it's just lifted up a little, just enough to, we've got the perfect combination of some oil stickiness in the chassis, perhaps, when we're not getting continuity. There we go. Old toys, of course. So let's leave that at that sort of speed. Again, that is just beginning to pick up a little bit of pace there. Let's see how that looks as it passes through various things there. I think the answer to that is it just looks quick even when it's running relatively slowly. Oops. Well, I didn't anticipate it need to be quite so low there. We'll do better with that next time. We're coming lower here. And we've got the tunnel we're going to lose sight. Storm through the station. And under that elevated track. I think if I come up a little here, that will improve the view. So it gets a bit shakier once you make the lens longer on the camera. Let's keep an eye on those coaches now and see how they're running. All good. So I'm going to reach for the controls. I think just to finish off here with, we'll probably just take it up to the elevator track there and see if we can turn it around. We'll stop that there, and then if I change the point at the other end here, and then this one here, I'm going to make the lens sensible again. And then, sorry, I was just about to change that one there, so we'll get up to the elevated line. I'm just going to check which way round. My preferred way around is to run behind the station here. Yes, we're set for that. Just because I think it looks better coming around the curve this way around. You can see it come into the curve there over the signal box and so on. I think it just looks more visually impressive. So let's bring that all the way around again. So I think we're going to get a little wheel slip. That's why I've just stayed with the 3 coaches. I do have another one. We made that a little bit longer, but it's just a bit kinder to the motor and so on. The magnet adhesion's fairly good. It's not as grippy as some, but the coaches are relatively light. There we go. We'll stop that there and we'll see if we can do a standing start. So let's go some power there, and then it grips. So it's not too bad. And again, I think we're just basically the insides of a printer in here, so nothing especially new. In terms of build for the model, I don't think there's too many variations on it. Could be wrong. So I'm just going to stop it at the signal here, because this is where we've got to change everything, right? Change the point, and that signal should change colour. If I can reach over, I'll try and keep this point in there, and we'll change the point. There we go. Turn the switch the other way, and we should be in good business here. In business, good business. I suppose it works, doesn't it? So we'll keep an eye on this. I think this is definitely going to want to increase its pace as it drops down the slope. just dialing the power out a little bit too early here. There, so we're backing off to try and control it. Yeah, it definitely runs out that one. So we've run this round the 00 station. Just bring it up there. There we go. I'm just going to switch the points behind me now, so we can just have one final run around that outer line, just in the opposite direction around the railway. So I just need to do, I think it's that one straight, and we'll just straighten the, actually we want to make that one curved, it makes more sense. It's that one, so then when we use this as a loop, in fact, why don't we use it as a loop? We'll just we'll reset the points. I could have left the other one at this end of the station. There we go. So here we go. Remembering to turn the switch in the correct direction. So I'm just going to calm that down a fraction. We'll just have a couple of interesting views as it comes around now. If I can grab that as it comes to the station there. Gorgeous looking thing. Come around by the signal box here. Cool, standing there in that lovely sort of grey and blue livery. But I think that's probably it for this time. Thank you again for looking in. If you look back next time, we'll see if we can have something else fun to have a look at. Goodbye now.